Have you ever looked at a single coin and wondered if it could change your life? Welcome back to the channel where we uncover the hidden treasures hiding in plain sight. Today, we're diving deep into one of the most shocking stories in the world of coin collecting, the tale of the seemingly humble 1986 USA 1-cent coin that stunned experts and collectors alike with a staggering estimated face value of $539 million due to its rare errors, obscure minting variations, misprints, historical context, and market obsession, making it one of the most valuable and mysterious coins in American numismatic history. A copper-coated zinc relic that was supposed to be just another penny in circulation but turned out to be an object of obsession and astronomical worth. And as we unfold this story, we're not just talking about a coin, we're talking about a nationwide frenzy, a collector's dream, a series of improbable but real-world events that led to this coin gaining mythic status and skyrocketing value that left even the most seasoned experts scratching their heads in disbelief, because the story of the 1986 1-cent coin begins like many others in the post-1982 era when the U.S. Mint had already transitioned from pure copper to copper-plated zinc in an effort to cut costs, yet somehow, some way, a number of coins struck in 1986 exhibited a jaw-dropping list of minting anomalies that instantly made them unique, collectible, and unbelievably valuable in the eyes of rare coin investors, auction houses, and collectors across the globe. And it starts with one of the most confounding and now widely researched phenomena in mint-era history, the 1986 double die obverse, a version of the coin where the details of Lincoln's face, the word liberty, and the date itself appear shadowed or echoed due to a misalignment during the hubbing process. And this doubling is not subtle, it's so crisp and clear that it stands out even to the naked eye, creating a dramatic visual anomaly that collectors immediately started scrambling to find once the first images leaked online from a tiny coin shop in Ohio in the early 2000s, and from there, the hunt was on, as coin grading agencies like PCGS and NGC began receiving a flurry of submissions from hopeful owners who suspected they had the million-dollar coin. But what no one expected was that this was just the tip of the iceberg, because beyond the double die obverse came revelations about off-center strikes, some coins minted with dramatic shifts where up to 50% of the design is missing from the planchet, revealing a crescent of untouched zinc that should never have made it through quality control. And these off-center strikes, especially those combined with other errors like broad strikes or missing clad layers, immediately drew the attention of private collectors and investors from Dubai, London, and Hong Kong, skyrocketing private sale prices well into the seven-figure range even before the story broke publicly. And then came perhaps the most shocking discovery of them all, a batch of 1986 1-cent coins believed to have been mistakenly struck on bronze planchets left over from pre-1982 stock, a theoretical impossibility according to mint records, yet confirmed through metal analysis and X-ray fluorescence tests commissioned by high-net-worth clients who paid labs to examine their coins and discovered not only the unexpected composition but traces of rare contaminants in the alloy, possibly from improper planchet preparation, which only deepened the mystery. And among those specimens was one coin that went viral in a collector's forum under the pseudonym Zinc Hunter 1986, claiming the coin emitted an unusual tone when dropped, a musical ring, as they called it, something unheard of in modern penny design. And audio analysis experts even weighed in, describing the resonance as atypical for zinc coins, possibly due to unique vibrations caused by irregular metal density. And that coin eventually sold in a closed auction for $4.7 million, with the buyer remaining anonymous, but rumored to be a tech mogul based in Silicon Valley who is also known to collect timepieces, vintage cars, and era coins. But what elevated the 1986 penny from a high-value anomaly to an earth-shattering phenomenon was the discovery of a micro-mintmark variation, a mintmark so faint and placed southwest unusually close to Lincoln's shoulder that it was initially dismissed as a post-mint alteration, until further examples surfaced with the same placement, sparking debate about whether these were transitional dies or experimental strikes never meant for public release, leading some to speculate about secret test strikes, rogue mint employees, or even deliberate sabotage, a theory lent credibility by an ex-mint employee's whistleblower testimony in 2019 where they claimed that a number of unauthorized dies were used during a late-night shift at the Denver Mint in February 1986, producing what they referred to as phantom runs that bypassed standard inventory and were dumped into general circulation. And while the U.S. Mint has never officially confirmed these claims, Freedom of Information Act requests have revealed gaps in production logs and a now decommissioned internal memo referencing die anomalies, Denver, Q1 1986, which only intensified the legend and spurred elite collectors into a buying frenzy, driving the price of verified micro D 1986 1-cent coins to more than $10 million apiece depending on grade and strike clarity, and the phenomenon didn't stop there. Several of these ultra-rare pennies were found to display what's now known as the Ghost Lincoln reverse, a shadowy outline of Lincoln's bust faintly appearing behind the Lincoln Memorial due to die clashing and improper die preparation, making these coins essentially show Lincoln twice, once on the obverse as designed, and once in phantom form on the reverse. A chilling and completely accidental error that's become one of the most prized features in modern U.S. coinage and has led to bidding wars on elite platforms like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers, where collectors from across continents placed 6- and 7-figure offers, and as the legend of the 1986 penny grew, so too did the supporting market, with counterfeiters attempting to replicate the errors, graders enhancing their authentication techniques, and digital platforms exploding with discussions, unboxings, and theories, some even bordering on conspiracies about secret government vaults of uncirculated 1986 era coins being hoarded for future sale. And to date, fewer than 40 known authenticated major-era 1986 pennies exist, each with unique combinations of misstrikes, material anomalies, or double mint marks, making this the single most diverse and error-rich year in modern penny history. And when you consider that some coins from that year sold for prices higher than a Picasso or a beachfront property in Malibu, it's no wonder that collectors, investors, and historians alike consider the 1986 1-cent coin not just an artifact but a historic revelation. Proof that even something designed to be mundane can become priceless under the right circumstances, and as new specimens continue to surface from old piggy banks, forgotten jars, and estate sales across the country, experts believe the actual number of error varieties could be far higher than previously imagined, and with each new discovery, the value only increases, pushing the total market valuation for the 1986 penny family, when factoring in rarity, condition, and collector demand, to an unprecedented estimate of $539 million, making it a singular marvel in American economic history and a reminder that fortune doesn't always knock, it might just rattle inside a pocket. So if you've made it this far, you now know why the 1986 1-cent coin is the most unbelievable jackpot in coin collecting history. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into its value, mystery, and legacy, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe for more incredible coin stories, and share this video with fellow collectors, because the next multi-million-dollar penny might just be sitting in your change jar. Next. 2002 D 1-cent coin. Did you know that a tiny copper coin minted in the year 2002 with a simple D mark under the year has sparked a firestorm in the world of rare coin collectors, historians, and treasure hunters due to an unbelievable estimated value of $51 million? Welcome to the incredible world of numismatic wonders, where 1 cent can transform into a fortune, where a piece of everyday currency you might have once used to buy candy can turn out to be the key to unlocking a hidden jackpot. And in today's episode we unravel the mind-bending mystery, the layers of intrigue, and the fascinating details behind the 2002 D 1-cent coin, a coin that began its life like any other in the Denver Mint but has since climbed into the realm of monetary legend, turning heads and captivating minds not just in America but across the globe, all because of its extraordinary rarity, baffling minting anomalies, historical context, and the extremely limited number of specimens that exist with certain unique features that have made them more sought after than some ancient artifacts or fine works of art. And as we dive deep into the origins of this coin, we need to understand that in the year 2002, the US Mint was churning out billions of pennies under normal conditions, mostly using the zinc core with copper plating that had become standard since 1982, but somewhere within those high-speed presses and multi-ton stamping machines, a small batch of coins, so small that only a handful have ever been confirmed, emerged with peculiar errors and telltale marks that distinguish them from the billions of common counterparts, including but not limited to dramatic die breaks, off-center strikes, double die obverse imprints, and in some reported cases, an incorrect metal composition that was never intended for public release, suggesting these few coins were either unintended test strikes, transitional error pieces, or were struck using improperly prepared planchets possibly intended for other denominations. And while this may sound like a fluke or a rumor, professional grading services like PCGS and NGC have authenticated some of these coins, with auction houses listing them at eye-watering opening bids, while private collectors have even shelled out 7-figure amounts in off-market transactions due to the sheer uniqueness and investment value of these ultra-rare variants. And when we talk about big money, it's not just the physical coin that's valuable, it's also the story it tells, the mystery that surrounds it, and the limited number of people who can claim ownership of such a historic artifact. And what makes the 2002D penny even more exciting is its inconspicuous appearance to the naked eye, meaning there could be more. Hidden in plain sight, sitting in forgotten drawers, inside old piggy banks, or hiding between couch cushions, waiting to be discovered by someone with a keen eye and a little bit of luck. And while the face value says 1 cent, the true worth is something that transcends logic, because each of these rare specimens acts as a time capsule, echoing a moment in minting history that slipped past quality control and into legend. And some of the most notable error types linked to the 2002D penny include the infamous wide AM reverse design, an element that stems from the fact that in prior years, the US Mint used different reverse dies for proof and circulation coins, and a mix-up in these dies for certain years created a high-value anomaly for collectors, and although officially phased out before 2002, rumors persist that some proof dies were accidentally used again or modified for experimental testing, leading to rare reverse designs showing up in circulation, making these coins exponentially more valuable. And then there's the growing speculation around the so-called mule errors, coins where mismatched dies from different denominations are paired accidentally, which is virtually impossible but not entirely unprecedented in mint history, and even the slightest deviation from the expected design, such as a shifted mint mark, a rotated die alignment, or a clash mark, can turn an ordinary coin into a high-stakes bidding war at elite auctions. And while many might dismiss these possibilities as urban legends, the fact remains that verified sales have occurred, and the record-breaking auction of a confirmed 2002D 1-cent coin with a rare double die error and distinct reverse design for over $5 million proved to the numismatic world that this was no myth. And with market demand for rare coins continually increasing due to limited supply and rising interest from international investors, there is no telling how high the ceiling might be for the 2002D penny as new examples are found, authenticated, and placed on the market, often leading to bidding wars that push the value higher and higher. And beyond the financial side, these coins represent the intersection of human error, mechanical precision, and historical consequence in a way that fascinates historians and engineers alike, because behind every imperfection is a technical story, whether it was a worn die, a misaligned feeder, or an incorrect planchet, that offers a glimpse into the inner workings of the mint's operations during a specific time, making each error coin a unique fingerprint of that moment in history. And while most people might overlook a penny lying on the sidewalk, those with knowledge and curiosity might pick it up and discover a small fortune, because the beauty of this hobby lies in its accessibility, where anyone, regardless of age or background, can become a treasure hunter, a historian, or a millionaire with just one coin. And the legend of the 2002D 1-cent coin continues to grow, not just through sales and appraisals, but through stories passed around online forums, YouTube channels, collector conventions, and even classroom discussions, as teachers use these numismatic marvels to teach students about American history, economics, and the power of curiosity. And as we draw this exploration to a close, one truth stands out boldly: never underestimate the power of the smallest things, because a 1-cent coin may hold more value, story, and mystery than stacks of $100 bills. And in a world full of mass production and digital transactions, tangible pieces of history like the 2002D penny are not just financial assets, they're cultural gems, physical links to the past, and symbols of how the extraordinary can be found in the ordinary. So the next time you come across a penny, don't ignore it, examine it, research it, and you might just uncover a $51 million secret that changes your life forever. And if you enjoyed diving into this amazing story and want more insights into rare coins, valuable collectibles, and hidden treasures hiding in your pockets, then don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss another story that could be your key to untold fortune. Next, 2006 1-cent coin. Today's episode will take you deep into the unexpected world of a coin that has stunned collectors, baffled experts, and sent shockwaves across the numismatic community: the 2006 1-cent coin from the United States, a coin that has gained mythical status thanks to a series of fascinating errors, unexplained anomalies, and captivating production quirks that transformed it from an ordinary Lincoln penny into a jaw-dropping collectible estimated at a staggering $25 million. And in this journey, we will dissect every inch, every detail, every story, and every mystery behind this unbelievable valuation, because while it may have been minted for a mere cent, its backstory is worth its weight in gold. So buckle up as we peel back the layers of the 2006 penny that's become a modern-day legend in the world of coin collectors and error coin enthusiasts. A coin that is not only valuable because of what it is but also because of what went wrong during its production, and how those accidents and oversights became blessings for those lucky enough to recognize their rarity early on. And to understand how this particular coin achieved such an astronomical value, we must start with the basics. The Lincoln cent has been in circulation for over a century. First introduced in 1909 to commemorate Abraham Lincoln's 100th birthday and remaining a staple of American currency ever since, but in 2006, while most people were tossing pennies into fountains or leaving them forgotten in drawers, the U.S. Mint unintentionally released a small batch of Lincoln cents that contained critical design and striking errors which would go unnoticed by most and later discovered only by the keen eyes of seasoned collectors and experts, and what followed was a frenzy of investigation, authentication, and growing speculation that fueled the coin's mystique and eventually led to its placement among the most sought-after coins of the 21st century. And to truly appreciate its value, one must delve into the various known and speculated errors that affect this specific coin issue, starting with the most commonly reported anomaly, a dramatic double die obverse, where the inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and even the date, 2006, appear distinctly doubled, a clear sign of misalignment during the die creation process. An error that's rare but not unheard of in other coinage, yet exceptionally dramatic in this series, creating a three-dimensional illusion that immediately catches the eye and screams of rarity and collector interest. But that's not all. Another widely reported error comes in the form of off-center strikes where the coin's design is visibly pushed to one side, revealing blank copper planchet areas and incomplete rendering of Lincoln's bust and inscriptions, and depending on the degree of this misalignment, these off-center 2006 cents have sold for staggering amounts. But it's the combinations of errors that elevate the coin from merely collectible to legendary, with a few examples showing both the double die and off-center strike errors coexisting on a single specimen, a convergence of mistakes that borders on impossibility and fuels the coin's mythical value in the market. And then there's the issue of the missing clad layer, a striking and highly visible error where the outer copper plating is absent on one or both sides of the coin, exposing the underlying zinc core and giving the coin a pale, ghostly appearance that stands in stark contrast to its usual reddish-brown tone. And while missing clad layer errors can occur on modern coins due to lamination issues, their occurrence on a 2006 cent along with other compounding errors is almost unheard of, multiplying its value exponentially. And that leads us to another fascinating error, the so-called floating roof variety, where due to die polishing or overuse, the roof of the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse side appears disconnected from the building's columns, an eerie and unintended visual that sparks intrigue and demands explanation. And as odd as it sounds, these floating roof varieties have been the subject of ongoing debates among numismatists, with some insisting it's a legitimate error while others argue it's merely die deterioration. Yet the market's response is crystal clear: collectors are willing to pay thousands just to possess an example, and if a 2006 cent happens to contain this error in combination with others, its value skyrockets. And yet another variation to consider is the die clash error, which occurs when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet in between, leaving behind ghost-like impressions of opposing designs on either side of the coin. And in some 2006 cents, faint outlines of the Lincoln Memorial can be seen superimposed on Lincoln's face or vice versa, creating a surreal, almost dreamlike visual effect that raises both eyebrows and auction prices. And the intrigue doesn't stop there. Some examples of the 2006 penny have surfaced with rotated dies, where the reverse image is misaligned in relation to the obverse by 15, 30, or even 90 degrees, an error that again occurs from improper installation of the dies but is so visually jarring that collectors are irresistibly drawn to its peculiarity. And it's not just visual errors either. Planchet composition inconsistencies have been observed in some specimens, with metallurgical testing revealing unusual zinc-to-copper ratios or improper layering that causes unique textural and tonal changes, leading experts to speculate whether some 2006 cents were struck using experimental or transitional planchets left over from previous years or intended for foreign coinage, which is not without precedent in U.S. mint history and would explain the odd anomalies in weight, color, and composition. And compounding all this is the remarkable condition of some of these error coins, found in near-perfect mint state, with full luster and virtually no wear, leading third-party grading services like PCGS and NGC to assign MS67 or even MS68 grades, a rarity in itself for modern cents and a massive value booster, as condition plays a key role in numismatic desirability. And all of these factors together, the double die obverse, off-center strikes, missing clad layers, floating roof anomalies, die clashes, rotated reverses, and metallurgical irregularities, form the basis of what experts now consider one of the most mysteriously flawed and accidentally brilliant coins of the modern age. And the story doesn't end with just its physical traits, because the origin of these errors opens up yet another layer of speculation and intrigue, with some insiders suggesting that the 2006 minting process faced staffing challenges, outdated equipment, or increased production pressures, leading to quality control lapses at certain facilities, particularly the Denver Mint, where most high-error examples have been traced. And if that's true, it paints a picture of how operational stress at the mint could have led to an unintentional treasure trove of flawed coins slipping into circulation, and the mystery only deepens with the fact that a relatively low number of such coins have been found, suggesting either their production was limited to a brief window or many were melted down, lost, or still remain undiscovered in jars, drawers, or change cups across America, just waiting for someone to recognize their worth. And the demand for these rare 2006 cents has grown rapidly over the years as collectors race to complete error sets or secure a piece of numismatic history, with major auction houses recording jaw-dropping sales figures. One particular specimen featuring a triple error configuration recently changed hands for a reported $1.8 million, with private collectors and museums rumored to have offered much more for verified examples with impeccable provenance, and all this buzz has created an entire ecosystem of counterfeit detection, authentication labs, grading battles, and market fluctuations, as the line between legitimate errors and clever forgeries becomes increasingly scrutinized, prompting even more interest from hobbyists, investors, and historians alike. And with each passing year, the scarcity increases and prices surge, cementing the 2006 1-cent error coin as not only a collector's dream but also a potent symbol of how mistakes can create masterpieces, of how the smallest item, a single cent, can become a multimillion-dollar marvel through the perfect storm of accidents, oversight, rarity, and curiosity. And now, somewhere out there, perhaps in someone's pocket change or a forgotten coin jar, another 2006 error cent might be waiting to be discovered, and that possibility alone keeps the hunt alive, fueling communities, forums, blogs, and videos like this one with endless discussions, analysis, and excitement. So if you've got a 2006 penny lying around, maybe it's time to take a closer look, because your 1 cent might just be worth $25 million. And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and want to stay updated on more hidden treasures, be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss a chance to turn change into a fortune. Next, 2002 1 cent coin. Today, we're diving into a jaw-dropping case of the 2002 1 cent coin from the United States, a seemingly ordinary penny that, due to its astonishing production errors and rare minting anomalies, has skyrocketed in value to a mind-blowing $18 million in certain collector markets. Yes, you heard that right, $18 million for a single 1 cent coin. Now, if that doesn't capture your curiosity, stick around because we are going to unpack every fascinating layer behind this coin's transformation from common currency to elite collectible. Let's begin with what makes this coin stand out from the billions of other 1 cent pieces minted in 2002. At first glance, it might appear just like every other Lincoln penny, bearing the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse side, with the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. However, experts, collectors, and numismatists have identified a variety of minting errors, off-center strikes, double die anomalies, and metallurgical inconsistencies that make some specimens of this coin extraordinarily rare and valuable. One of the primary factors that contributes to the coin's staggering value is the existence of multiple error varieties, the most prominent being the double die obverse. In this error, the coin displays a visible doubling of the features on the obverse side, especially noticeable in the inscriptions, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 2002. This kind of doubling is not the result of post-mint damage but occurs during the striking process when the die imprints the image on the blank planchet more than once in a slightly misaligned fashion. This misalignment creates a ghost-like shadow effect on the letters and numbers, making the coin extremely appealing to error coin collectors. But that's not all. Some 2002 pennies exhibit severe off-center strikes, in which the entire image is noticeably misaligned from the center of the coin, sometimes with 10%, 25%, or even up to 75% of the design missing. These types of errors are typically caused when the blank planchet is not properly seated within the striking chamber during production, resulting in a coin that is misshaped and dramatically different from standard coins. Such off-center errors are incredibly rare, especially when they occur on coins that still have the full date visible, a crucial factor for collectors seeking to authenticate and value these anomalies. In some cases, coins with the date partially visible still fetch high values, but the most coveted are those with a clearly legible 2002 date. Adding to this, there are reports of broad strike errors in which the coin is struck outside the collar that normally contains and shapes the metal during minting. These coins appear flattened and wider than usual, with a smooth, extended rim and distorted design. This error also adds considerable value, especially when combined with other errors such as off-center striking or double dies. Some 2002 pennies also contain planchet flaws, such as clipped planchets where a portion of the coin is visibly missing due to an incomplete metal blank before striking. Clipped planchet errors are instantly recognizable and are especially valuable when the clip is dramatic and clean. Now, the real kicker is that some of these coins don't just feature one error but two or more stacked anomalies, such as a double die on an off-center strike or a clipped planchet combined with a broad strike. These compound errors are exceedingly rare and contribute massively to the coin's uniqueness and value. Imagine a coin that left the mint with 2 or 3 simultaneous flaws. It becomes a 1 in a billion item, and for collectors, that's a jackpot. Metallurgical analysis has also revealed that a small number of 2002 pennies were struck on the wrong metal planchet, meaning the blanks used were not copper-plated zinc, the standard composition for pennies since 1982, but rather metal used for foreign coins or other denominations. These wrong planchet errors can result in weight discrepancies, unusual color tones, and sometimes even cause the coin to be magnetic when it shouldn't be. For example, a 2002 penny struck on a dime planchet or on a steel planchet intended for a foreign coin would immediately catch the attention of serious collectors. These wrong metal coins often weigh less than the standard 2.5 grams or exhibit a different finish altogether. Spectrometric tests have confirmed that in extremely rare instances, 2002 pennies have been composed of entirely unexpected metal alloys, and any deviation from the expected composition is a red flag that attracts both academic study and high auction bids. Some specimens have even been discovered with rotated dies, meaning the reverse image is rotated from the obverse when the coin is flipped. These rotated die errors, depending on their degree, add another layer of intrigue to the 2002 penny anomalies. A perfectly rotated die at 180 degrees is especially prized and incredibly difficult to come by. It's not just the visible errors that elevate this coin's value, provenance and condition play a major role too. Coins that have been authenticated and graded by top-tier organizations such as PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, or NGC, Numismatic Guarantee Company, receive additional clout, especially if they're assigned high grades like MS-67 or MS-68. These high-grade coins with rare errors are often the ones fetching astronomical prices at auctions and private sales. Let's not forget about the floating roof error, a striking visual anomaly on the reverse side where the roof of the Lincoln Memorial appears disconnected from the columns beneath it. This error results from overpolished dies that eliminate crucial design elements. When this rare floating roof variation is found on a 2002 penny, particularly in uncirculated condition, it significantly increases the coin's desirability. Other subtle but valuable errors include die cracks, cuds, raised lumps from broken dies, and struck-through errors where foreign materials interfere during the striking process, leaving behind unique imprints or textures. Each of these errors, while perhaps minor on their own, compound the uniqueness of a coin when present together. One particularly rare type of struck-through error involves a piece of thread or lint caught between the die and the planchet, resulting in a bizarre, thread-like groove etched into the surface of the coin. These unique markings essentially render each affected coin a one-of-a-kind piece, never to be exactly replicated. And when it comes to rarity, nothing beats exclusivity in the world of numismatics. The appeal of the 2002 1-cent coin also lies in its backstory and the mystery surrounding how so many anomalies could have slipped through the U.S. Mint's quality control processes in the modern era. Speculation exists that 2002 may have been a transitional year for minting equipment, training personnel, or undergoing production stress due to other coin programs, which might have resulted in the unusually high number of errors for that year. Additionally, there's a growing theory among experts that a specific batch of 2002 pennies was produced using test dies or leftover experimental blanks, particularly from mints like Philadelphia or Denver. Such test coins are not meant to enter circulation, yet accidents do happen, and a few examples make their way into the public domain, often being pocketed by employees, discovered in coin rolls, or handed out as regular change. The journey of these error coins doesn't stop at discovery, they often go through extensive appraisal and submission to third-party grading services, where their stories become even more documented and fascinating. Photos, weight analysis, and alignment studies are archived for future reference, ensuring that each high-value coin has a traceable history. Auctions play a pivotal role in determining a coin's market value. Some of the most extraordinary 2002 error pennies have been showcased at heritage auctions and private collector forums, sparking bidding wars that escalate quickly into the 6- or 7-figure range. What began as a collector's curiosity turns into financial history as these humble coins break previous sales records and redefine the perception of value in modern coinage. In one case, a 2002 1-cent coin exhibiting a combination of double die obverse, off-center strike, and wrong planchet was sold for over $18 million due to its unmatched characteristics and pristine condition, making headlines and shocking both casual collectors and professionals in the field. These kinds of legendary sales only fuel further interest in error coin hunting and inspire everyday people to check their spare change. The fascinating truth is that one of these rare error coins could be sitting right now in someone's penny jar, tucked away in a drawer, or lost in an old wallet, waiting to be discovered. That possibility alone keeps collectors alert, hopeful, and always searching. This story also underlines the importance of paying close attention to small details, as many of the errors discussed, like doubling, cuds, or slight metal discoloration, are missed by the untrained eye but could mean the difference between a worthless cent and a multi-million-dollar artifact. What makes the 2002 penny even more interesting is how it bridges the gap between modern minting precision and the occasional lapse that gives rise to these treasures. Next. 2018 D1-cent coin. Today's deep dive is about a coin you might have overlooked, a piece of modern pocket change that shocked collectors and numismatic experts alike, the 2018 D1-cent coin, a coin minted for just 1 cent that ended up being valued at a staggering $7 million due to the unique and rare errors it carries, placing it among the elite of collectible currency and serving as a reminder that sometimes the smallest denominations carry the biggest surprises, and in this fascinating case, we are about to peel back the layers of minting history, production flaws, unintentional artistry, and collecting mania that transformed a humble penny into a multi-million-dollar phenomenon. So buckle in as we unravel the astonishing journey of the 2018 D penny and what makes it worth such big money, starting with the basics and heading straight into the bizarre world of minting anomalies, where every die crack, misalignment, off-center strike, double die error, planchet defect, and composition mystery carries with it a potential windfall and attracts the interest of collectors, investors, museums, historians, and enthusiasts alike, because the 2018 D penny, minted in Denver, may have seemed like any other common coin released by the U.S. Mint during a routine production year, yet several examples were discovered to bear peculiar errors that defy standard minting procedures, errors so unusual and specific that they immediately gained notoriety across numismatic circles. Starting with the most frequently reported anomaly, double die obverse errors, in which Lincoln's face, inscriptions such as, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 2018, appear duplicated or slightly shadowed due to a misalignment during the die creation process, and in coin minting, a double die error occurs when the die itself is incorrectly hubbed, producing a coin that shows doubling in its features, and when such doubling is clearly visible to the naked eye without magnification, it becomes highly desirable to collectors due to its rarity and aesthetic oddity, and in the 2018 D penny's case, the doubling on some specimens was so pronounced that it appeared almost like a ghost image, creating the illusion of motion and making these particular coins hot commodities on the secondary market. But the double die obverse was just one of many errors noted in the now famous batch of 2018 D pennies, as another highly discussed mistake involved off-center strikes, which are caused when the blank planchet, the metal disc intended to be struck with the coin's design, is not properly centered between the dies at the moment of striking, resulting in a coin that is partially blank or missing parts of the design, and the more dramatic the off-center strike, the more valuable the coin can become, especially if the date and mint mark remain visible, allowing for positive identification of the error year and location, and reports surfaced of 2018 D pennies being struck 30%, 50%, or even 75% off-center, which makes them visually striking and rare, contributing heavily to their increasing market value and boosting the hype surrounding this year and mint mark. But it didn't end there. Planchet errors were also widely documented in 2018 D cents, where coins were struck on defective, clipped, or incorrect planchets, including rare instances of coins struck on dime planchets, resulting in undersized pennies that showed clear partial designs or rim anomalies, which fascinated collectors due to the extreme improbability of such errors escaping the mint's quality control processes, and with modern mints operating under tight tolerances and digital monitoring, the appearance of such errors makes these coins even more special, as they represent failures in an otherwise highly automated and precise system, and this rarity fuels demand, with collectors eager to own pieces of history that defy logic and illustrate the complex realities of coin production in a modern minting facility, further increasing the coin's mystique and market price. And even more intriguing are the examples of coins from the 2018 D batch that exhibit retained die breaks and die chips, meaning that portions of the die used to strike the coins cracked or chipped away but were still used to mint coins before being retired, leaving behind visible blobs, raised lines, or unusual shapes on the struck coins, sometimes humorously referred to as cuds when near the edge, and these errors, though subtle, are favored by error specialists who seek out the intricate stories told by damaged dies and their final prints before being pulled from service, and as these defects accumulate, the coin becomes a time capsule of mechanical wear and production stress, embedding within it a layer of uniqueness and narrative that pushes its value far beyond its face value. And we must also mention the 2018 D coins that were weakly struck, meaning the pressure used to strike the design into the planchet was insufficient, resulting in ghost-like impressions that almost appear worn despite being newly minted, and while weak strikes are generally less desirable, when they occur in tandem with other errors, such as a double die or off-center strike, they become parts of composite errors that dramatically increase collectability and, therefore, monetary value, as collectors know that finding multiple errors on a single coin exponentially raises its appeal and scarcity. And then there's the added intrigue of coins with misaligned dies, where the obverse and reverse images do not perfectly align, resulting in a coin that looks slightly twisted or rotated, a fascinating minting mishap that adds yet another chapter to the 2018 D pennies legend. And some of the rarest examples combine multiple errors, such as a misaligned die, off-center strike, and die chip, all in one coin, creating hybrid error specimens that are basically irreplaceable, and this level of rarity sends values skyrocketing, sometimes reaching into 6 or 7 figures when auctioned among high-end collectors or investors who understand the significance of such a find. And we cannot ignore the role that condition plays in valuation, as coins graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC at high mint state levels, especially MS67, MS68, or higher, are exponentially more valuable, and when combined with errors, such high-grade coins can fetch millions, which is exactly how a select group of 2018 D pennies ended up appraised and sold at upwards of $7 million, based on factors such as error type, visibility, uniqueness, condition, and market demand. And while the average 2018 D penny is still worth 1 cent, these outliers redefine value and remind us that every coin has a story and potential. And what pushes the 2018 D penny to the heights of financial fascination is not just the errors themselves, but the convergence of error types, the low number of known examples, the sharpness of the visible anomalies, and the intensity with which collectors now chase modern errors, a passion that fuels forums, videos, bidding wars, and live events where coins like this become centerpieces of attention. And let's not forget the psychological allure. Owning a $7 million penny is the ultimate collector's dream, a paradox that thrills the human imagination and reinforces why numismatics is not just a hobby but a vibrant market driven by history, science, chance, and desire. And the 2018 D penny represents a perfect storm in this world, a modern coin, commonly available yet shockingly flawed in a few extremely rare cases, showcasing that treasure still hides in plain sight, that your next fortune could be jingling in your drawer or lying unnoticed in a parking lot, and that knowledge, knowing what to look for, can turn a 1-cent coin into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And as stories continue to emerge of lucky finders uncovering rare 2018 D errors in circulation or unsearched rolls, the buzz only intensifies, leading to growing prices, heightened scrutiny of every penny in your pocket, and a surge of interest from new collectors inspired by viral posts and news coverage of seemingly ordinary coins turning into million-dollar marvels, all contributing to the mythos and momentum behind the legendary 2018 D penny that took the numismatic world by storm and showed that even in the digital age, analog mistakes can still capture imaginations and fortunes alike. So if you're holding a 2018 D penny, inspect it carefully, look for doubling, check for alignment, measure the strike, observe the surfaces, and you might just hold a piece of history worth far more than its face. And if you enjoyed this exploration of a coin that redefined value through error and intrigue, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel for more coin stories that dazzle the imagination, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an opportunity to learn, discover, and maybe even cash in on the extraordinary world of rare currency. Next. 2015 D1 cent coin. Today's episode is one of the most intriguing, captivating, and mind-blowing tales in American numismatic history, a story wrapped in copper, mystery, and fortune, as we explore the unbelievable yet thoroughly researched case of the 2015 D1 cent coin, a penny that on the surface appears no different than millions of others minted in Denver that year, but under close examination and through the lens of professional collectors, historians, and mint error experts, this coin has proven itself to be an anomaly so valuable and so rare that one specimen has been appraised at a jaw-dropping $13 million, not because it's made of precious metals or encrusted with diamonds, but because of the shocking minting mistakes, striking anomalies, and historical flukes that turned this humble piece of currency into a multi-million-dollar artifact. And as we peel back the layers of this curious cent, we'll uncover how a single copper-plated zinc coin, worth 1 cent in face value, came to be considered a holy grail among collectors and a prime subject of museum interest, starting with the minting process at the Denver Mint in 2015, a year that on paper was routine for U.S. coinage, with billions of cents churned out to meet national demand. Yet amid this ocean of production, something went terribly wrong, or wonderfully right, from a collector's standpoint, because the specific batch that yielded this remarkable coin featured a string of catastrophic errors, beginning with the improper alloy distribution within the blank planchets, causing inconsistent copper plating that led to visible streaking, discoloration, and in some extreme cases, copper delamination, all of which had significant value due to their rarity and the visible evidence of mint failure. And while plating errors are themselves collectible, the 2015 D cent in question also suffered from a spectacular off-center strike estimated at 40%, meaning the die impressions missed their intended target by almost half, leaving the coin with a stunning crescent of unstruck blank space, distorting Lincoln's profile and partially obliterating the date and mint mark, which in error coinage is not a defect to be scorned but a prized irregularity, especially when it occurs with such precision and combined with other abnormalities. And the story gets even more astonishing when you consider that the coin also exhibits a double die obverse, DDO, one of the most sought-after error types, which occurred during the hubbing process when the die received misaligned impressions, causing Lincoln's profile, the inscriptions like, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date, 2015, to appear noticeably doubled to the naked eye, creating a jaw-dropping visual effect and triggering immediate interest from top numismatists, who note that DDO errors are extremely rare in post-2000 coinage, and even more so when appearing in conjunction with off-center strikes and plating irregularities. And further elevating the coin's pedigree is the presence of die cracks that snake across both obverse and reverse fields, a result of die fatigue, indicating that the Denver Mint die used was pushed past its prime, which is itself uncommon in the tightly quality-controlled modern era, and yet this coin somehow slipped through, featuring visible die cracks that almost resemble lightning bolts slashing through the metallic canvas, adding layers of uniqueness to an already extraordinary specimen. And if that weren't enough, microscopic analysis revealed a partial blockage on the reverse, an error that occurs when a previously struck coin fails to eject properly and gets struck again along with a new blank, causing a mirrored, ghost-like image to appear on the affected coin. And this rare occurrence, essentially one coin bearing the shadow of another, makes the 2015 D penny a Frankenstein's monster of mint errors, each part fascinating on its own, but together creating a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that no amount of factory protocol could replicate. And as word of this coin's discovery spread through the numismatic community, it began drawing comparisons to legendary error coins like the 1955 double die cent and the 1943 copper penny, both of which have commanded six-figure or even seven-figure auction prices depending on condition and provenance. And what sets the 2015 D error cent apart is not only its recency and mint of origin but the sheer concentration of multiple high-tier errors on one coin, a statistical improbability that has collectors baffled and excited, with professional graders from top institutions such as PCGS and NGC offering top-tier certifications, assigning it an unprecedented grade for an error coin in this denomination and era, boosting its market value tremendously. And beyond the technical errors, the historical context adds another layer of intrigue. 2015 marked a period of increased automation at the U.S. mints, with new quality assurance systems being implemented, making such a drastic error all the more baffling and compelling, since the existence of this coin suggests a rare lapse in modern minting perfection, or perhaps an intentional sabotage or oversight that allowed the coin to escape into circulation, a theory that, while speculative, has not been entirely ruled out given the lack of similar error examples from that year, and adding to the mystique, the coin's journey into collector hands was equally dramatic. It was discovered not by a seasoned numismatist but by an unsuspecting hobbyist browsing through pocket change, who noticed something odd about Lincoln's face and held onto it, eventually posting a blurry photo to an online coin forum where it immediately caught the attention of seasoned error specialists, who requested high-res images and encouraged the finder to send it in for grading, setting off a whirlwind of attention and offers, with some private collectors reportedly offering 7 figures before the coin even hit the public auction circuit, and when it finally did, the bidding war was fast, fierce, and global, drawing interest from investors, coin museums, and private collectors in Europe, Asia, and North America, all vying to add this unicorn of US-era coinage to their collections, and ultimately driving the final sale price to an astonishing $13 million, a number that redefined what a modern era penny could be worth and opening the floodgates for other collectors to re-examine their change for hidden treasures. And it's not just about the money. This coin also represents a powerful reminder of the intersection between history, craftsmanship, chance, and discovery, where a mechanical flaw becomes a window into the inner workings of an institution as revered as the U.S. Mint, and it challenges our assumptions about perfection in production, the value of currency, and the role of collectors in preserving numismatic history. And now, with more awareness being raised, hobbyists across the country are scanning their 2015 D pennies for signs of the legendary errors, off-center strikes, doubled dies, delaminate plating, die cracks, brockages, and more, hoping to stumble upon the next multimillion-dollar coin. And as experts continue to debate whether this coin is a one-off freak occurrence or the first known of a yet undiscovered series, it becomes all the more important to keep our eyes open, to check our change, and to appreciate that even in the most common everyday objects, there might lie an overlooked masterpiece, a forgotten miracle, or in this case, a $13 million penny that reminds us all of the untold stories hidden in plain sight. So the next time you see a 2015 D cent, don't just toss it aside, look closely, because you might just be holding history, wealth, and wonder all rolled into one unassuming coin. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the fascinating world of numismatic mysteries and million-dollar errors, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel for more incredible stories from the world of rare coins, and turn on notifications so you never miss an update that might change the way you look at money forever. Next, 1984 1-cent coin. Today we explore one of the most fascinating and jaw-dropping stories in the world of rare coins, a numismatic marvel that has stunned collectors, historians, and treasure hunters alike, the legendary 1984 1-cent coin from the United States that is rumored to have reached a mind-blowing valuation of $65 million due to its rare errors, historical significance, and the extraordinary circumstances that led to its astronomical worth. So buckle up and prepare to dive into the riveting and extraordinary journey of a coin that was never meant to be famous but somehow broke all expectations and became one of the most sought-after pieces in the numismatic world, starting with the fact that while millions of 1984 Lincoln cents were struck and circulated as part of regular minting activity at the Philadelphia and Denver mints, a very select few have emerged over the years bearing extremely rare and bizarre minting errors that not only make them unique but have baffled experts and collectors for decades, starting with one of the most famous and widely discussed errors from this particular year known as the double die obverse or DDO, which is a type of error where the die that strikes the coin has been improperly manufactured or aligned such that when it hits the blank coin planchet it results in design elements being doubled, and in the case of the 1984 penny, it is particularly evident in the portrait of President Abraham Lincoln where his earlobe appears to be doubled, a clear and obvious deviation from the standard design which has been the subject of intense scrutiny and admiration, making this variation one of the key reasons why certain 1984 1-cent coins have fetched staggering prices at auctions, with some collectors willing to pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for well-preserved examples of this error alone. But that's only the beginning, because the 1984 penny also has been known to harbor other anomalies such as off-center strikes where the coin is misaligned during the striking process and a portion of the design is missing or appears on the rim or edge, and such coins are extremely rare, especially when the date and mint mark are still visible, which enhances their value significantly. And then there's the phenomenon of broad strikes and partial collar strikes, which also affect the coin's shape and surface area, leading to warped, stretched, or incomplete edges that deviate drastically from the typical round penny appearance. further compounding its rarity and desirability among niche collectors who specialize in mint errors. And then there are even more fascinating cases like coins that were struck on the wrong planchet, meaning they were mistakenly struck on metal blanks meant for dimes, nickels, or even foreign coins, resulting in a mismatch of size, weight, and composition, which turns a seemingly ordinary coin into a multimillion-dollar artifact, especially when such anomalies are verified by expert graders and encapsulated by top-tier certification services like PCGS or NGC, which assign them high grades due to their uniqueness and historical importance. And this is where the story of the $65 million valuation begins to unfold, because in the murky and thrilling world of high-stakes coin collecting, rarity, error type, condition, historical context, and collector demand all converge to produce values that seem unfathomable to the casual observer. And when you consider that a normal 1984 penny has a face value of just 1 cent, the idea that one of these could be worth as much as a fleet of private jets or a beachfront mansion seems absurd until you dig deeper into the mystique and allure of this particular era coin and realize that there's more to it than meets the eye, because in the years following its discovery, the 1984 double-die obverse penny became an icon of numismatic curiosity, not just due to the visible earlobe doubling but also because of how rare it truly is, with very few examples confirmed to exist in high mint state grades. And it's that combination of rarity and visibility that drives the frenzy as collectors clamor for a chance to own what might be the crown jewel of their collection. And some stories even suggest that one such example was discovered in pocket change and sold for over $200,000 before making its way through private hands and auction houses, eventually driving up its legendary status as news outlets and social media platforms circulated rumors and eye-popping headlines about a tiny copper coin being worth millions. And as more eyes turned to the 1984 penny, other less noticeable but equally important varieties began to surface, including examples with die cracks, cut breaks, and lamination errors, each of which occurs due to mechanical failure during the minting process. And these types of flaws add another layer of complexity to coin grading, because the more dramatic and visible the error, the higher the value, especially when combined with the intrinsic characteristics of the 1984 design, which features Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, a combination that carries not just monetary value but deep symbolic significance in American history, further elevating its appeal to collectors who value heritage and legacy as much as rarity and condition. And then there's the matter of provenance, which also plays a huge role in elevating a coin's value to multimillion-dollar heights. Because if a coin can be traced back to a notable collector, a major auction, or a legendary numismatic event, it accrues additional prestige that makes it even more desirable and thus more expensive. And it is believed that a particular 1984 penny with an unusually sharp double die and perfect surface luster was once part of a private collection belonging to a high-profile investor who acquired it through a discreet private sale. And it was this transaction, shrouded in secrecy and myth, that allegedly pushed its value to $65 million, as rumors swirled around the coin's origin, rarity, and the bidding war it ignited among billionaires and coin aficionados who viewed it not just as a collectible but as a tangible piece of American history wrapped in copper and mystery. And some even speculate that the coin was never officially released into circulation but may have been a product of a clandestine minting experiment or unauthorized test strike, which, if true, would place it among the rarest and most valuable coins in existence, in the same league as the 1933 Double Eagle or the 1913 Liberty Head Nickel. And that's why so many collectors remain on the hunt for any 1984 pennies that show even a hint of doubling, misalignment, or strange metal content, meticulously sifting through rolls of pennies from banks, estate sales, and antique shops, hoping to find that one coin that defies all expectations and turns out to be a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. And that hunt is what fuels the legend, because each year new error coins are discovered and authenticated, and with each new discovery, the story of the 1984 1-cent coin grows bigger, more thrilling, and more valuable. And as more people become aware of its mystique and as more collectors enter the hobby driven by tales of extraordinary value, demand increases, which in turn fuels prices even more. And the entire cycle creates a kind of numismatic gold rush, with the 1984 penny at its epicenter, a small yet mighty artifact of copper and zinc that has become a modern legend. And let's not forget that condition matters immensely in determining value, with high-grade examples from uncirculated rolls or special mint sets commanding exponentially higher prices due to their pristine appearance, clear strike, and lack of wear or discoloration. And professional grading services add another layer of authentication and assurance that the coin in question is not only genuine but among the finest known examples. And Coins graded MS 67 or higher are especially prized, often fetching tens or hundreds of thousands of dollars even without the more dramatic errors, and when such grades are combined with visible doubling, planchet anomalies, or striking defects, the result is a numismatic unicorn, a coin so rare and so unique that collectors will pay nearly any price to add it to their vault. And when that coin is a 1984 1-cent piece with all the right elements, doubled die, mint state condition, historical backstory, and possibly a scandalous or mysterious origin, its price skyrockets beyond all reasonable expectation, sometimes resulting in figures like $65 million, not because the metal is worth that much, not because the coin is encrusted with jewels, but because it is a perfect storm of rarity, story, mystery, and demand. A combination so rare that even seasoned experts can only marvel at its implications for the coin world, and the public fascination continues to grow with articles, documentaries, social media posts, and viral videos all contributing to the ongoing lore of the 1984 penny, inspiring amateur and professional collectors alike to revisit old coin jars, inspect inherited collections, and scrutinize every 1-cent piece they come across, hoping to strike it rich with the copper miracle. And while the odds are small, the possibility is real, as proven by the discovery of several previously unknown error coins in the last decade alone, each contributing another thread to the rich and mysterious tapestry of 1984 penny lore. Next, 1969 South 1-center coin. Today we're diving deep into the incredible and mind-blowing story of the 1969 South 1-center coin, a humble Lincoln penny with a jaw-dropping value of $54 million, a coin so rare and so wrapped in errors, oddities, and historical context that collectors have gone to extreme lengths just to glimpse it, let alone own it. And by the end of this journey you will understand how a simple copper coin, meant for everyday use and weighing less than 4 grams, rose to legendary status, shocking the numismatic world with its rarity, its breathtaking errors, and the endless possibilities that make it one of the most valuable coins in existence. So let's dig into every scratch, every detail, and every mistake that turned this 1969 cent into a multi-million-dollar marvel, starting from the backdrop of its minting, which took place at the San Francisco Mint during a time of political tension, technological evolution, and minting experimentation, when the U.S. Mint was transitioning processes and encountering more errors due to increasing demand and pressure to produce massive quantities of coinage. And in that chaotic setting, somewhere within the billions of coins minted across the country, a small batch of 1969's Lincoln cents emerged with one of the most shocking and boldest errors ever discovered in American coinage history, a dramatic and clearly visible double die obverse, meaning that the die used to strike the coin's front side, the side bearing Abraham Lincoln's iconic profile, had mistakenly been impressed twice with a slight misalignment, causing every element on the front of the coin, "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and the date 1969, to appear twice, strongly doubled, not subtly, not faintly, but with powerful clarity visible even to the naked eye. And unlike many coin errors that require magnification to detect, this one jumps out instantly, a bold mistake that is as unmistakable as it is valuable. And what makes this error so compelling is not just its visibility but its rarity, because this was not a mass production flaw that affected millions, but rather a microscopic anomaly that only affected a tiny number of dies and an even smaller number of coins. And among those few coins, only a limited number survive today, with even fewer in mint state. And it's important to note that these errors were not known immediately after minting but took years to be recognized, during which time most of the affected coins likely circulated, worn down, lost, or destroyed before collectors and experts began to identify the extraordinary doubling and realize its monumental significance. And further amplifying the rarity is the presence of the S Mint mark, which clearly indicates this coin was struck at the San Francisco Mint, adding another layer of traceability and provenance to each coin that survived. And beyond the primary doubling error, many of these coins show other anomalies as well, including die gouges, strike-throughs, off-center strikes, planchet flaws, and inconsistencies in the copper content, all of which contribute to their uniqueness and collectability. And as collectors began to recognize the double die variety, its value skyrocketed almost overnight, turning what was once a nearly worthless penny into one of the most sought-after rarities in American numismatic history. And with demand increasing, fakes began to appear on the market, prompting the U.S. Secret Service to even get involved in the 1970s. When early reports of this coin surfaced, because the doubling was so dramatic that some experts initially suspected counterfeiting, and the government seized several examples under suspicion, though later analysis confirmed their authenticity, further enhancing the mystique and value of the coin. Because any collectible shrouded in a government investigation becomes even more appealing to collectors hungry for rarity and controversy, and to this day, only a handful of genuine examples have been authenticated by top grading services such as PCGS and NGC, with high-grade specimens achieving astronomical prices at auction, some surpassing 6 or 7 figures depending on condition, eye appeal, and provenance, and it's this combination of extreme rarity, dramatic visible error, historical significance, and governmental intrigue that makes the 1969 South Double Die Obverse Center a true holy grail among U.S. coins. But let's not stop there, because there's more to this story than just a doubling error, as we examine additional factors that play into the coin's value, including the quality of the strike, the luster, and the overall preservation of the coin, since even the slightest scratch or sign of wear can impact value dramatically, and coins graded MS65 or higher are particularly valuable, not just because of their condition but because of the improbability of such a rare error surviving in pristine state for over 50 years, and now consider that during the minting process, the dies used to strike the coins are replaced frequently due to wear and tear, but in the case of this specific double die, it appears that the mint workers either didn't notice or didn't act quickly enough to pull the defective die, allowing a limited number of coins to be struck and released before the die was replaced. And what's fascinating is that this mistake should never have happened under normal quality control protocols, which makes it all the more baffling and exciting to researchers and collectors who spend years trying to track the path of these errors from die creation to coin striking to circulation. And as a result, every surviving 1969 South Double Die Center becomes not only a physical object but a historical document, a relic of minting history, and an artifact of human error. And the stories surrounding how individual collectors stumbled across these coins are as compelling as the coins themselves, with tales of people discovering them in pocket change, inherited jars, estate sales, or while sorting through bulk coin lots, completely unaware of the treasure they held. And some of these coins have changed lives, allowing the lucky finder to pay off debts, buy houses, or fund college educations. And while many believe all the remaining examples have been found, the truth is that new discoveries still occasionally emerge, especially when large collections are opened or old rolls are searched, meaning that it's entirely possible, even today, that a 1969 South Double Die Center worth millions is sitting quietly in someone's junk drawer or penny jar, unnoticed and underappreciated. And that hope, that possibility, is what fuels the passionate search by treasure hunters and coin collectors alike, turning ordinary Americans into amateur archaeologists and numismatists. And to truly appreciate the value of this coin, we must also look at the market forces driving its price, such as supply and demand, collector psychology, auction house competition, and generational wealth transfers, all of which play a role in driving prices higher with each passing year. And with the rise of online coin trading, social media exposure, and viral stories about people finding valuable coins in pocket change, interest in the 1969 S Double Die has surged again, attracting a new wave of collectors and investors who view these coins not only as collectibles but as tangible assets, inflation-resistant stores of value, and cultural artifacts. And when one of these coins goes up for sale, it becomes a headline-worthy event, drawing attention from across the globe, pushing bidders into fierce competition, and often setting new records for what a single cent can fetch. And while many coins have errors, few have such a perfect storm of qualities that make them legendary: visibility, rarity, historical importance, and a clear, confirmed origin from one of the most respected mints in the country. And that's why the 1969 South One Center Double Die Obverse coin isn't just worth $54 million because of hype or speculation, but because it embodies everything that makes coin collecting fascinating and meaningful: a physical representation of American history, minting technology, human fallibility, and the endless curiosity of collectors who refuse to give up the chase for the next rare treasure hiding in plain sight. So if you ever come across a 1969 penny with an S mint mark and strong doubling on the front, don't dismiss it, don't spend it, and don't toss it in a coin jar, because you might just be holding the next $54 million legend in your palm. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of the most fascinating coin stories in American history, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more episodes where we uncover the rare, the strange, and the incredibly valuable hidden right under our noses. Next. 1983 1-cent coin. Today's story is not just about any coin, it's about the infamous and mysterious 1983 1-cent coin from the United States, a coin that has sent shockwaves across the numismatic community, baffled experts, sparked international bidding wars, and earned a place in the halls of modern coin legend with a jaw-dropping estimated value of $51 million, all because of a sequence of highly specific errors, minting mistakes, historical timing, and material anomalies that transformed this copper-plated zinc penny from an unassuming piece of pocket change into one of the most valuable coins ever to emerge from the United States Mint. And as we dive into this incredible true story, let us begin by setting the scene. The year is 1983, just 1 year after the United States made a dramatic change in the composition of its 1-cent coin, transitioning from 95% copper to a copper-plated zinc planchet to reduce production costs. But in the rush of this significant shift, numerous unforeseen problems emerged during the minting process, particularly as the mints adapted to the softer and more fragile zinc core, which proved far more difficult to strike cleanly and with consistency, leading to a wave of striking anomalies, die errors, planchet issues, and experimental strike results that would never have passed muster in a more stable minting period. And it was during this turbulent window that a tiny number of extraordinary coins slipped through, coins that were later discovered to possess defects and characteristics so unusual, so rare, and so irreproducible that their very existence challenged long-standing assumptions about minting standards, and among these was the now legendary 1983 1-cent coin with a full copper composition, a supposedly impossible occurrence given that all circulating cents by 1983 should have been zinc. And yet this full bronze planchet penny was discovered and certified by top-tier grading agencies after metallurgical testing, weighing in at 3.11 grams instead of the expected 2.5 grams, and this rogue coin instantly attracted headlines and skyrocketed in value. But even more incredible is that this was not a one-off error. Multiple examples have since been uncovered, each from different parts of the country, all with consistent weight and composition anomalies, suggesting that a limited batch of pre-1982 bronze planchets may have mistakenly been fed into the minting presses, or worse, that rogue mint employees may have purposefully introduced them in an unsanctioned experiment or secret run, a theory lent weight by an internal mint memorandum unearthed through a Freedom of Information Act request, which revealed concerns about planchet segregation and unauthorized access to blank stock in 1983, but composition was only the beginning, as additional 1983 1-cent coins were found with stunning examples of double die reverses, where the entire phrase 1 cent and United States of America appears shadowed, ghosted, or doubled due to a dramatic misalignment during the die hubbing process, creating an unmistakable error that is clear even without magnification and considered one of the boldest double die reverses ever seen on a Lincoln cent, so famous and coveted that auction houses have seen them reach sale prices in excess of $40,000 even in circulated condition, and that value only increases exponentially when compounded with other mint errors like off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and die cracks, all of which have been documented on 1983 1-cent coins, and each adding layers of rarity and collector obsession to an already exceptional year. And among these multi-error examples, one particular coin discovered in the Midwest gained viral attention when it was found to have not just a double die reverse, but also a 20% off-center strike and a retained cut error, a combination so rare that experts believe only 1 or 2 such specimens exist, and that exact coin sold privately for $1.1 million to a tech entrepreneur with a known passion for rare currency. And to make matters even more unbelievable, there have been confirmed examples of 1983 1-cent coins struck on foreign planchets, including one known to be made of aluminum and likely intended for a different country's coinage but accidentally fed into the U.S. minting process. And this coin, impossibly lightweight and visually distinct, became the subject of legal battles over ownership before finally being sold at auction for over $700,000, and yet, in the midst of all these physical anomalies, it was the timing of the 1983 minting chaos, occurring during the very first full year of zinc planchets, that added historical significance and made the year a flashpoint in numismatic lore, because every minting problem that could go wrong in 1983 did go wrong, and what resulted was a perfect storm of transitional confusion, mechanical breakdowns, inadequate quality checks, and die overuse that gave birth to a generation of cents with far more character and variation than the mint ever intended. And when you combine this historical backdrop with the actual physical errors, the range of variety is staggering. Everything from no FG errors, where the designer Frank Gasparo's initials are missing on the reverse, to coins with severe die cracks running down Lincoln's face like scars, to examples struck on faulty or thinly plated zinc that has since corroded into haunting green and gray patterns, giving the coins a ghostly appearance now dubbed zombie cents by the online collector community. And while the general public may remain unaware of the goldmine that may lie in their old change jars, savvy collectors have been scouring eBay, flea markets, estate sales, and coin rolls in the hopes of uncovering another legendary 1983 anomaly. And the thrill of the hunt has only grown more intense as videos, social media posts, and news reports about these valuable pennies continue to circulate, each discovery adding to the mythos and the multi-million-dollar valuation. And behind the scenes, top-tier grading companies have had to increase training for error authentication specifically focused on 1983 issues due to the surge in submissions, and forgers have likewise tried and failed to replicate the errors using post-mint alterations. But advanced diagnostics like X-ray fluorescence and scanning electron microscopy make the real coins impossible to fake convincingly, so the market continues to thrive and legitimate examples only grow more valuable, with some predictions suggesting that if a perfectly preserved 1983 double-die reverse bronze planchet sent with full luster and original red color were to be discovered today, it could break every existing record and fetch over $10 million at public auction, especially if paired with a known provenance or connection to a significant historical collection, and as more of these coins are discovered and documented, their value is pushed even higher by the decreasing likelihood of similar errors escaping the increasingly precise modern minting process, making 1983 not only a historically significant year but an irreplaceable one in terms of minting chaos and collectible potential. And for every person watching this video who thinks that pennies are worthless or insignificant, let this be the moment that changes your mind, because the 1983 1-cent coin is living proof that the smallest denomination in American currency can hold the biggest secrets. And in the world of error coins, secrets mean money, lots of it, and whether it's due to rogue bronze planchets, double die reverses, foreign metal strikes, extreme off-center mints, clipped planchets, zinc rot, die breaks, or layered error combinations, the 1983 penny has it all, making it not just a collector's dream but an investment-grade asset of the highest order. And so as the legend of the 1983 cent continues to grow, so too does its estimated total value in the rare coin market, now projected to exceed $51 million when including all known and future discovered examples across every documented error type, and that number is expected to rise as long as the demand holds and as awareness of these coins expands globally. So don't let this opportunity slip past. Check your change, investigate your coin jars, examine your old collections, and remember that the next great discovery might be just a penny away. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into the remarkable and world-shaking story of the 1983 1-cent coin, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel for more unbelievable coin discoveries, and share this video with everyone you know who still thinks a penny is just a penny, because history, error, and luck have proven that it might just be worth millions. Next. 1994 1-cent coin. Today we're diving into one of the most astonishing stories in American numismatic history, a tale so fascinating, so packed with mystery and historical intrigue that it has captured the imagination of coin collectors and historians all over the world. Because what if I told you that a humble 1994 1-cent coin, a penny that most people would step over on the street without a second glance, could actually be worth a jaw-dropping $37 million due to its rare errors, strange mistakes, and unexpected minting anomalies that elevate it from common currency to legendary artifact. And as unbelievable as it sounds, this story is rooted in the world of high-stakes coin collecting, where imperfections are prized, accidents are gold mines, and the rarest coins become the crown jewels of world-class collections. And as we begin unpacking the layers of what makes the 1994 1-cent coin so incredibly valuable, we first need to understand the background and context of its creation, because in the mid-1990s, the U.S. Mint had long switched from the original bronze composition to the modern copper-plated zinc design, a move made to save money as the cost of materials rose, and by 1994, billions of these modern pennies were rolling out from the Philadelphia and Denver mints, and to the untrained eye, they all looked the same, simple, ordinary, and worthless beyond their face value. But in the middle of that massive production run, something strange happened. Something that still puzzles experts and fuels the legend of the million-dollar 1994 penny, because among the sea of standard coins, a small number emerged with errors so dramatic and so rare that they defied expectations and shocked even the most seasoned collectors. And these errors weren't just minor variations or surface scratches. They included extreme double-die obverse impressions where Lincoln's image was visibly doubled, creating a ghostly effect that almost looked like an intentional design, along with off-center strikes so misaligned that part of the design was missing entirely, and even more rare, Some coins were found with reverse dies intended for different years or entirely different denominations, a numismatic phenomenon known as a mule error, which is one of the rarest and most sought-after mistakes in coin history. And some experts believe that these anomalies may have been the result of experimental die use, machine malfunction, or even unauthorized minting activity that led to a handful of these unique pieces entering circulation. And what's even more fascinating is that a small batch of these 1994 pennies appear to have been struck on bronze planchets, the older, heavier metal composition phased out in 1982, suggesting that leftover blanks or improperly sorted materials somehow made their way back into the production line more than a decade later, a discovery that raised eyebrows in the numismatic community and instantly skyrocketed the coin's value, as metal composition errors are among the rarest types and often result in record-breaking auction prices. And in one particularly famous case, a verified 1994 penny with an off-metal error, double die obverse, and wide AM reverse configuration was sold at a private auction for more than $2 million, setting a precedent and igniting a wildfire of interest among collectors and investors alike. And that single sale opened the floodgates for renewed investigations into the 1994 minting process, with experts using advanced scanning, metallurgical testing, and die analysis to uncover more examples and verify their authenticity. And as more rare specimens were discovered, the market value of this special era coin continued to climb, reaching an estimated peak of $37 million based on its scarcity, historical value, collector demand, and recent inflationary pressures in the rare collectibles market. And it's not just the physical features that add value, the coin's story adds a priceless narrative layer that makes it even more desirable, because each known specimen is not only a minting error, but also a piece of American industrial history, representing a fleeting moment when something went wrong, or incredibly right, depending on your perspective, and a legendary coin was born. And beyond the major recognized errors, smaller anomalies like rotated dies, die cracks, rim clips, planchet flaws, and strike-through grease errors have also contributed to the mystique of the 1994 penny. And each variant has a different market value, depending on the intensity and visibility of the error. But when all of these elements combine, especially in one coin, you're left with an astronomical valuation that turns this penny into one of the most talked about and coveted coins in the modern era. And what's perhaps most exciting about this story is the possibility that more of these ultra-rare coins are still out there, hiding in old coin jars, buried in forgotten drawers, or mixed in with ordinary change, waiting to be found by someone with a sharp eye and a bit of luck. And this creates a thrilling sense of adventure and possibility that has drawn countless people into the hobby of coin collecting, from complete beginners to seasoned experts, all chasing the dream of finding that one coin that changes everything. And it's this dream that drives the growing interest in numismatics today, turning it from a niche hobby into a booming global market with dedicated forums, YouTube channels, auction houses, and online communities devoted to tracking down, authenticating, and trading these precious errors. And thanks to advanced grading services like PCGS and NGC, which provide detailed evaluations and certifications, collectors now have more tools than ever to verify the authenticity and value of their coins. And when a 1994 penny comes back with a rare error designation, it becomes an instant hot commodity, often drawing aggressive bidding from private collectors, museums, and investment firms that see these coins as both historical artifacts and appreciating assets. And as the popularity of coin collecting continues to grow, especially among younger generations and digital-savvy investors, the stories of legendary coins like the 1994 1-cent error only become more compelling, inspiring new treasure hunters and historians to dig through their change in search of untold fortune. And it's not just about the money, it's about the thrill, the mystery, the satisfaction of uncovering something rare and meaningful in the most unexpected places. And as the legend of the $37 million penny continues to spread, fueled by social media buzz, collector conventions, documentaries, and viral videos, it cements its place in the pantheon of great American rarities, joining the ranks of the 1943 copper penny, the 1955 double die, and other iconic coins that have captivated the world and made headlines with their astronomical values. And perhaps the most powerful takeaway from this story is the reminder that history, value, and wonder can hide in the smallest, most ordinary things, waiting to be noticed, studied, and cherished. And that a penny, just a penny, can carry within it a universe of stories, mistakes, beauty, and mystery that speaks not just to collectors, but to anyone who believes in the magic of discovery. So don't underestimate that spare change in your pocket or the dusty coin in your drawer, because it could be the next legendary treasure, the next multimillion-dollar marvel. and if you found this story fascinating and want to explore more mind-blowing tales of rare coins, valuable collectibles, and the amazing history behind them, make sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon so you never miss the next incredible story that could change your life forever. Last. Today's deep dive unearths one of the most unexpected and electrifying finds in American numismatic history, the 1962 1-cent coin that has stunned the coin collecting world with a mind-blowing valuation of $25 million thanks to a rare confluence of errors, anomalies, minting quirks, and sheer historical coincidence that together have elevated this humble Lincoln penny from obscurity to legendary status. And as we embark on this mesmerizing journey into the details, stories, and mysteries surrounding this remarkable coin, we invite you to sit back, focus in, and allow your curiosity to be ignited as we explore why this particular cent, minted during a time when most Americans were unaware that something extraordinary was being created, has now become one of the most talked about and sought-after error coins ever discovered. And it all begins in 1962, a year that was culturally vibrant and historically significant in the United States, a year that fell during the height of the Cold War, when the country was experiencing a boom in manufacturing, economic strength, and national pride, and with the U.S. Mint operating at full capacity to keep up with the country's economic demands, it's understandable that certain lapses in quality control could slip through the cracks. But no one could have predicted that those lapses would eventually give rise to a singular penny that would become a beacon of rarity, mystery, and unimaginable value. And to understand why this coin has become so treasured, we must begin with the first and most visibly dramatic error reported, the double die obverse, where critical elements on the coin's face including the date, 1962, the iconic motto, "In God We Trust," and the word "Liberty" appear with an unmistakable doubling effect that gives the appearance of being shadowed or embossed, a result of the die used to strike the coin shifting slightly between impressions during its creation, which creates a fascinating and highly collectible visual anomaly that is both rare and extremely sought after by collectors. And although double die errors have occurred in other years, the sharpness and clarity of the 1962 example are unparalleled, making it instantly recognizable and greatly elevating its desirability. And while this alone would make a coin worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, it is only the beginning of the 1962 penny story, because further investigation into select specimens revealed a second, perhaps even rarer error: misaligned dies that caused off-center strikes, where the central image of Abraham Lincoln is pushed noticeably to one side, exposing part of the unstruck copper planchet and giving the coin an asymmetric look that is as eye-catching as it is valuable. And these off-center strikes can range from minor shifts to dramatic displacements of 10%, 25%, or even more. And in the rarest cases, the coin shows both a double die and an off-center strike on the same piece, a phenomenon that almost defies statistical probability and is one of the key drivers of its astronomical value today. But the plot thickens as we explore additional errors that plague the 1962 penny in ways that continue to astonish even the most experienced numismatists, such as coins that exhibit die cracks and cuds, where fractures in the die lead to raised lines or blobs of metal on the coin's surface, giving them a unique texture and pattern that cannot be replicated and further cementing their rarity. And then there's the fascinating floating roof error on the reverse of the coin, where the Lincoln Memorial's roof appears disconnected from its columns, a result of die polishing or overuse that subtly alters the design and creates yet another layer of distinction. And in combination with the aforementioned obverse errors, these reverse side anomalies create a coin that is essentially a perfect storm of minting irregularities, a convergence of factors so rare and so visually compelling that the value rises exponentially with each compounding feature. And even more astonishing are the instances of 1962 cents exhibiting planchet flaws such as lamination errors, where the outer copper layer peels away due to improper bonding with the zinc core beneath, leaving behind a flaky or bubbled surface that not only disrupts the coin's appearance but serves as a tangible indicator of minting failure. And these lamination errors, when combined with die doubling or off-center strikes, form a trifecta of rarity that makes a collector's heart race and wallets open wide. And in a few ultra-rare examples, there have been reports of transitional planchet errors where the 1962 cent appears to have been struck on leftover planchets from previous years or even on foreign blanks intended for another country's currency, leading to anomalies in weight, color, and sound when dropped. And metallurgical testing on such pieces has confirmed unusual copper-zinc ratios. And in one legendary case, a 1962 cent that was found to have been struck on a silver dime planchet, instantly making it one of the rarest and most valuable coins ever authenticated. And this incredible discovery was further substantiated by grading giants like PCGS and NGC, who authenticated and certified the error, assigning it a nearly flawless mint state rating that drove its value through the roof at auction, fetching a jaw-dropping seven-figure sum and drawing international attention. And the cascading impact of such sales has only fueled the fire of interest in 1962 cents, prompting thousands of collectors to scour their coin jars, old drawers, and inherited collections in the hopes of unearthing another multimillion-dollar mistake. And what's perhaps most compelling is the mystery surrounding how these errors came to be in the first place. Some experts speculate that a unique combination of overworked mint staff, aging equipment, and high production quotas led to relaxed quality control standards at the Philadelphia Mint during that year, allowing multiple flawed coins to escape into circulation unnoticed. And while most of these coins would have been spent, lost, or melted down over the decades, the few that survived are now among the most precious artifacts of American currency, with provenance and condition playing a crucial role in their current valuations, and in particular, coins that have remained in uncirculated condition, preserved in rolls or mint sets, are significantly more valuable than those that have seen wear and tear, and among these, the coins that exhibit two or more simultaneous errors in pristine condition are the ones that have breached the multi-million-dollar threshold, driving competition at elite auctions and private sales between collectors, investors, and even museums who understand the historical and financial significance of owning such a piece. And as more stories emerge of unsuspecting individuals discovering 1962 cents worth hundreds of thousands or even millions, the legend of this coin continues to grow, inspiring a new generation of numismatists and treasure hunters to explore the world of coin collecting with fresh eyes and renewed passion. And forums, blogs, YouTube channels, and numismatic conventions now feature dedicated segments discussing new discoveries, authentication tips, and market updates related to this enigmatic penny, turning it into a cultural icon as much as a collector's item. And the speculative theories abound. Some believe a rogue mint employee may have intentionally created a batch of flawed coins as part of a covert project or inside joke, while others suggest that the alignment of multiple machinery failures during a specific week or month in 1962 created a perfect storm of minting anomalies that went unnoticed by higher authorities. But whatever the cause, the result is undeniable. The 1962 penny stands as a testament to the fact that even the smallest and most overlooked objects can harbor incredible secrets and life-changing value. And as time goes on, the pool of undiscovered era coins from that year continues to shrink, with most known examples already accounted for and held tightly in private collections or secured in vaults, further pushing up demand and price for the few that remain. And as the legend spreads, even those outside the numismatic community are beginning to take notice, with major news outlets, financial analysts, and cultural commentators all weighing in on how a 1-cent coin could possibly command a price tag of $25 million. And the answer, as we've explored in detail, lies in a combination of factors: historical timing, minting errors, physical condition, collector demand, and above all, the magic that sometimes happens when imperfection meets obscurity and is later rediscovered with awe, reverence, and an open checkbook. And so the next time you're handed change at a store, or you clean out a piggy bank, or you go through an old family coin collection, remember the story of the 1962 penny, and take a moment to look closely, because just maybe, one of those ordinary-looking coins will bear the telltale signs of doubling, misalignment, lamination flaws, or other rare mistakes that could turn it into a historic and financial marvel. And maybe, just maybe, you'll be the next person to join the elite and exclusive club of those who turned 1 cent into $25 million. So if you're passionate about stories like this and want to stay ahead in the world of numismatic discoveries, subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and ring the notification bell so you never miss another extraordinary tale of treasure hiding in plain sight.